Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third episode of my podcast, Detox Your Mind. As promised, we're speaking about guilt tonight, which you will probably all agree with me is a very necessary emotion because it guides our moral compass and it helps us with having a conscience. But if guilt is there for too long, it can actually become a negative emotion. It impacts on our self-esteem, our self-worth. It can actually also cause anxiety and can be a causal factor in depression as well. So basically, we need to deal with guilt. We need to, work through the emotion and actually share the emotion with somebody. And like I said, it is a very necessary emotion. It actually lead us to realization when we have done something wrong or when we have done somebody in. So basically, to get rid of the feelings of guilt, we need to be able to say, I'm sorry. We need to be able to actually ask the people in question for forgiveness. And also, it is very necessary to ask for forgiveness to set us free. Like I said in the previous podcast, with our emotional baggage, to take that proverbial monkey off your back. And that is why it's important to deal with guilt. Now we find that there is founded guilt or justified guilt, and then there is unfounded or unjustified guilt. Now, founded guilt is when we really have wronged somebody or we really have done something wrong and we need to repent or we need to ask somebody for forgiveness. Unfounded guilt is guilt where we actually have an unrealistic expectation and we feel guilty that we're not meeting that expectation, or it can be a realistic expectation as well, but we're comparing ourselves with somebody else in terms of meeting that expectation. Now, there we need to ask ourselves, have the emotional intelligence to actually discern between, is my guilt founded? Is it necessary? Is it serving me? Is it propelling me forward into becoming a better version of myself? Or is it keeping me back in terms of telling myself that I'm not good enough? And there it links to the podcast of negative emotions as well, or negative affirmations. So basically, the old adage goes that the biggest apology is changed behavior. So basically, if you do ask somebody for forgiveness, change your behavior, because that will show the person that you really, really meant business with your apology. And with founded guilt, that is a sure way of getting rid of that monkey off your back. With unfounded guilt, you really need to discern whether your guilt is necessary, whether you don't have an unrealistic expectation. And a lot of mothers actually have unfounded guilt because we are so busy and we have so many things that we need to attend to. We sometimes have guilt as to whether we are good enough mothers or whether we are good enough partners, and 90% of the time that guilt is unfounded. If you actually are a good mother already, if you actually are a good partner already, sometimes we do need to tweak and do a little bit better in certain areas in our lives, and the realization of that is where change can take place. So once you've realized where you can tweak behavior, where you can do better, then start implementing it. Be proactive about it and do it, and detox your mind.